NEDA Secretary Ernesto Pernia, DTI Regional Director Aster Cabarte. Let me also acknowledge the Bohol UP Advisory Council members, Dr. Jose Abueva, Dr. Cesar Saloma, and Attorney Herman Simafranca. I learned from Governor Chato that this is really the think tank that's also been helping Bohol plan and execute all of this very inspiring plans. So catch on to your term of the day. Governor Edgardo Chato, my UP batchmate, Tagbilaran City Mayor Jose Yap, and other city officials and provincial officials, the President of League of Municipal Mayors, Alan Ray Yasas, and the various municipal mayors of Bohol, my colleagues in government service, including my colleagues in the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, members of the Academe, our partners in the private sector, ladies and gentlemen, maayong adlaw sa inyong tanan. You know, we spoke about being inspired. It's truly my pleasure to speak in this economic forum and engage with the dynamic policymakers, business leaders, and other stakeholders here in the province of Bohol, and share with you the latest developments on the monetary, financial, and external sectors of the economy. Governor Chato spoke about using this opportunity to align what you're doing with a national initiative. When he was saying that, I was actually saying to myself, align? No, you're well ahead of what the national government is thinking about. And between the speech of Governor Chato, the data presented by the provincial administrator, and this powerful video that we just saw, this is clearly not just a story, not just a publicity, not just a PowerPoint, but it's reality on the ground. And this morning, the timing of this forum cannot be more perfect, because this morning it coincided with our groundbreaking and time capsule ceremony of the future Bohol branch of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. And after that, I was treated to visiting the soon-to-rise or soon-to-operate new international airport here in Bohol. So all of these things tell me that things are really happening on the ground. Now, to circle back to the national concerns, for my presentation today, I chose the title, The BSP, Bridging Sustainable Progress in the Countryside to the Continuity Plus Plus Agenda. I'll tell you about the Continuity Plus Plus. This basically highlights the BSP's supporting role in the achievement of our overarching goal of sustainable and inclusive growth of the Philippine economy. You may be wondering, what is the contribution of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to this broad national development goal? The Bangko Sentral is driven by 3 pillars. We are committed to price stability. We are committed to financial stability. And we are committed to delivering on an efficient payment system. Let me elaborate on that theme as well. With respect to the Continuity Plus Plus Agenda, this is the slogan that I adopted when I was appointed to the governorship of the BSP approximately a year ago. Continuity is about upholding those mandates that I just spoke about: price stability, financial stability, and efficient payments. But we added plus plus, hindi on tax. Plus plus is about doing something more. And that is very much in the spirit of what Bohol is trying to do, going the extra mile to deliver on development. The plus with respect to the BSP is about delivering ambitious and bold financial sector reforms. Let me first start talking about safeguarding price stability, which is really critical to any economy. The BSP, as the Central Monetary Authority, has always worked hand in hand with other government agencies to ensure that we safeguard price stability, which is conducive to a low and sustainable growth. An environment of low and stable prices, number one, improves people's purchasing power by making goods and services more affordable. Number two, it facilitates the creation of more job opportunities. Number three, it encourages greater savings. Number four, it increases the capacity of government to provide more funds for social services. And number five, it increases certainty in investment decisions. In short, price stability is an enabler of economic growth. The sustained, uninterrupted expansion of the Philippine economy for the past 77 consecutive quarters and the strong economic growth that we have witnessed in the last 6 years of more than 6% on average was also happening during a time when inflation was relatively under control. And you can see this from the chart that I presented. We are following an inflation targeting framework, and what we want to do is to keep inflation moving between 2 to 4%. However, as you probably know, in recent months, we have seen an uptick in inflation, which is above the target of 4%, and the average right now of inflation from January to June this year is at 4.3%. So it's higher than our target. But this is mainly because of factors outside the control of the BSP, such as higher oil prices. You know, oil prices were already stable at around $50 per barrel. Now it's pushing $70 per barrel. There are also other kinds of factors like supply disruptions and the like. Nevertheless, based on our forecast, we expect that inflation should be back to inside our target range of 2 to 4% by next year. And to make sure that inflation does not get out of control, we hiked our policy rates last May and June. And we are ready to follow through when the Monetary Board meets again in August 9 to make sure that inflation stays within target. You may be asking if the driver of inflation is supply side, why is BSP hiking rates? We are hiking policy rates in a very deliberate manner as a way of controlling further inflationary pressures, while the initial sources are being dissipated. So yung second round, yun ang binabantayan ng BSP. And, I have my next slide please. In assessing the factors of rising inflation, it is important to note that these are primarily emanating at the first instance from supply-side pressures. As I mentioned, particularly from the sharp increase in global oil prices and food supply disruptions, including rice supply disruption. This is at the national level. And this really poses a challenge for the BSP. Our monetary policy instruments, just like any central bank, are more effective in controlling what's called demand-side driven shocks. So our inflation is what's called the cost push inflation. Our instruments are more relevant for demand pull. But there are elements of this combining right now because of the strong economic growth that we have been experiencing for an extended period of time. To some extent, the excise taxes under Train 1 also contributed to inflation in the first round. And we expect the impact to be transitory and moderate. Given the nature of the inflation that we're experiencing right now, the BSP is strongly and carefully coordinating our efforts with other government agencies for the full implementation of safety net programs such as what? Targeted cash transfers, Pantawid Pasada program for transport to control transport costs, which can help temper the adverse impact of inflation on the ordinary household. The DTI is also a very strong partner here to their price monitoring activities. I was just told by Director Cabarte that here in Bohol, inflation for basic and prime commodities is only 4%. And that reflects the vigilant effort of our DTI to keep prices under control in this part of the country. So inflation is clearly a very important concern, and you can be assured that the BSP is focusing its attention to bring us back to lower inflation soon. Now let me talk about the financial stability mandate of the BSP. The BSP's continued pursuit of appropriate policy measures and sustained financial sector reform agenda, we expect that the financial system will continue to be sound and stable. Our banking system today is very strong, very comparable to the best in other countries. And moving forward, further expansion of the banking system because of the good asset quality, good liquidity, and rising capital buffers, the trajectory of banking growth will continue to be upward, for not just for Bohol, but for the whole of the Philippines. And banks will be profitable, and profitable banks can deliver better services to the public. And this is really driven by the very dynamic economy, especially here in Bohol and the rest of the country. Now let me talk about the third pillar of central banking, which is about the payments system. A safe and efficient payment system is a very critical market infrastructure of a stable financial system. We operate what's called the PhilPass, which is a real-time loss settlement system. This is for handling critical, time-critical, and large-value financial transactions. You may be wondering, what's the role of PhilPass? I think businessmen are very familiar with the check system, right? Those things are clear. At the end of the day, that you are wondering how the money moves from one bank to another bank in settlement of these transactions. This is all done through the PhilPass of the BSP to make it happen. Even for ATM transactions, all of this are settled at the background under the watch of the BSP. But let me also talk about another a very exciting project for us, which is the National Retail Payment System. Because retail payment systems are very important, because at the end of the day, this is what the public sees, this is what businesses see, and this is what governments see. Under the National Retail Payment System, we are aiming to create a safe, efficient, affordable, and interoperable electronic retail payment system. And the goal of this is to increase the retail payment transactions to about 20% electronically by 2020. The comparable figure when we first measured the starting point, the transactions that are happening are mostly paid in cash or checks. Only 1% is being done electronically. We want to make it at least 20%. So what will happen is account-to-account electronic transfer, which will facilitate e-commerce and the ease of doing business. I was very excited to know from Governor Chato that one of the projects here is really the installation of fiber optic cables in the whole province of Bohol. This is very consistent with our vision of promoting electronic payments. And you may be interested to know that already we have launched two important payment systems, the PesoNet and InstaPay. This is going to be the electronic alternative to the check payment system. And also, by use of mobile phones, you can pay transactions using your mobile phones, using digital scanning technology and QR codes. Businesses will be able to conveniently transfer funds or make payments maintained with banks and other non-banks such as electronic money issuers to any other account. In addition to the convenience of interoperability, PesoNet will allow funds to be made available within the same banking day. On the other hand, InstaPay is designed to facilitate small value payments up to 50,000 pesos, enable merchants to accept digital payments from customer on real-time basis, it's almost as good as cash, using cards or any digital device, especially a mobile phone scanning a QR code. And in these payment schemes, the payees will receive the amounts in full and do not pay fees for electronic credit to their accounts. And our efforts to widen the financing access nationwide has been bearing fruit. This particularly includes increased banking presence in areas that have been previously unbanked and underserved. We believe that access to financial services is important for every household and business. Financial inclusion carries the potential of improving the well-being of the poor and the growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises, particularly in the countryside. And to help ensure that our services are accessible, the BSP also continues to expand its physical presence in the various regions, cities, and municipalities nationwide. And our latest addition will be the Bohol branch. The continued increase in the number of BSP branches in the country is envisioned to, one, ensure the steady availability of BSP currency management services in the region, basically to support you with the adequate money supply to support your businesses. Proactively implement the BSP Clean Note policy. BSP Clean Note basically wants to make sure that the notes that you handle here are high quality. Of course, that's keeping with the reputation that you're building of making Bohol an international tourist destination. Pangit naman kung ang pera natin luma. So we want to make sure maganda yung pera natin dito. But our BSP branch here is not just only about providing currency services. It is also meant to be an effective channel for information dissemination on our policies and initiatives. And number 4, it will also play a role in monitoring and analyzing economic and non-economic trends, which will help our policy making so that we are more responsive to your needs. So it's going to be our observation post and our place for understanding what's really happening on the countryside, not just from our desk in Manila. We want to know what's happening on the ground and be responsive to your needs. And moving forward, the BSP is committed to continue to focus on the effective delivery of its mandates and objectives, particularly giving primacy to its core mandates of promoting price and financial stability and efficient payments. The BSP is also keen on pursuing financial sector and market infrastructure reforms that are strategic, complementary, and reinforcing. We are working in partnership with other government agencies and the private sector to continuously improve the payments and settlement system amid all of the technological advancements. I can assure you, the best that you are seeing when you travel abroad in terms of electronic payments, QR code, etc., you will soon see that here in Philippines, here in Bohol. And the BSP will continue with its programs geared towards promoting greater financial inclusion in the domestic economy. So everyone is part and parcel of the total development of our country. In closing, I would like to reiterate that despite a very challenging environment that we are currently operating in because of a lot of external headwinds, I can assure you that the BSP remains committed to use all of our available policy instruments and regulatory tools to ensure the achievement of our core commitments to the Philippines, which is to promote low and stable inflation and a stable financial system and a very well-developed payments system. And we are going to do this in support of what we're doing here in the countryside, so that together we can achieve our national aspiration of really making our country part of the advanced community of nations globally. The central theme that was raised by the governor is all about bold ambitions and aspiring initiatives. We totally understand where you're coming from, and the BSP will do everything to support all of your initiatives. Tagang salamat sa inyong pagkakinaw. Maraming salamat po